Hello and welcome to Discovering China, your window to Chinese culture in Asia and across the world. I'm Ben Hedges. Coming up on this week's show, we visit the New York Department of Records for an insight into the history of the city's Chinese community. Take a preview of NTD's series of Chinese cultural competitions coming up in 2013, and speak to Oscar award-winning director Ang Lee. The Chinese are one of the most widely spread ethnic groups on the planet. In major Western cities from London to New York and from Washington, D.C. to San Francisco, you'll find Chinatowns, bustling with business and culture. But it wasn't always this easy for Chinese living overseas. They faced obstacles of acceptance, living in cultures very different to their own. We now go to New York City's Department of Records to look at the history of New York's Chinatown.
The Chinese had such an impact and continue to have an impact in this city.
Through overcoming barriers of acceptance, the Chinese have become one of the most successful immigrant groups in the U.S.
When you look at the history and when you look not only at the development of Chinatown and the way that it impacted the economy of the city of New York and bringing things, I mean, that exists today. I mean, when people come to New York City, if they either live in the outer boroughs or they come tourists from all over the world, what is one of the places that they want to see, that they want to visit? Chinatown.
New York's Chinatown in Manhattan has a history dating back to the mid-1800s. The New York Department of Records has kept items documenting the history of Chinese residents of the city, as well as Chinese gifts to different mayors of New York.
One of the items that we had on display was a ceremonial fan that was given as a gift to Mayor Dinkins in 1992.
This scroll was a gift to Mayor Bloomberg. It shows three rivers converging into the Bohai Sea.
It was, I think it's 8 feet long, and it was the highlight of the exhibit because it took up the whole back of the room. So it was a very beautiful scroll. It came in a decorative box.
Historical records tell the journey of development of Chinese in New York, from mugshots of Chinese gangsters in the early days of Chinatown to photos of Chinese people marching on the streets in protest against the Japanese invasion of China just before World War II. Chinese immigrants met obstacles from a society that was slow to accept them.
This is a letter from Chu Feng, and he was a manager of the Chinese concert hall. And what he was requesting was that they had open the hall on Sundays for services, for church services for the Chinese or whatever. It was actually, since it was against the law at the time, he requested to the mayor, it was against the law. So it was denied because it was considered against the law to open the establishment on Sunday. So what we have behind it is a backup letter from the police department a year later. They fined him $500. They revoked his license.
Yet acceptance did come. This monument commemorates Chinese Americans who fought for American values. One in particular, Benjamin Kim Lau, served as a bomber pilot in World War II, until Japanese planes shot down his aircraft near Papua New Guinea in 1944. The Department of Records has the original document, naming the small square near Chinatown after the war hero.
In 1959, this local law was established, and Kim Lau was actually a lieutenant, and he was a bomber pilot, I think the first bomber pilot, for a Chinese bomber pilot. And in his honor, this was established in 1959. The monument was created.
The Department of Records prides itself on documenting the histories of various groups within the city. Their next exhibition will be African Americans in the U.S. military. Every year since 2007, NTD Television has hosted a series of Chinese cultural competitions, from singing to martial arts to Chinese classical dance and more. At the finals in New York, contestants have graced the stages of some of the world's most prestigious venues, including Carnegie Hall in Manhattan. NTD Television has just announced the competition schedule for 2013. Here's a preview of what's to come. NTD Television has now formally announced its 2013 Chinese Cultural Competition schedule.
There will be 4 competitions in NTD Television's 2013 competition series: the Han Culture Design Competition, Traditional Chinese Martial Arts Competition, the Piano Competition, and the Chinese Figure Painting Competition.
The competitions fulfill NTD's mission of promoting traditional arts and bridging East and West.
那新唐人大赛呢，一向是推崇弘扬。
NTD's competitions promote traditional, orthodox culture and art. So for this year's competitions, the Han Culture competition, like the judge said, it is the clothing of the Han Chinese people, mainly from the Tang, Song, and Ming dynasties. The martial arts competition is also on traditional martial arts.
唐朝、宋朝和明朝的服饰为主。那武术大赛呢，我们评的呢是传统的武术。
Since the 1970s, kung fu movies from China have popularized a modern and altered version of Chinese martial arts. Competition Committee Chairman Tim Sun says contestants in the competition must perform traditional kung fu if they want to win.
Traditional martial arts are a part of traditional Chinese culture that has existed for several thousand years. We say that Chinese literature and martial arts all have a moral code, so this martial part plays a big role.
Traditional morals and values also play a big part in the figure painting competition.
所以这个内容来讲，一定是要能够引领人类。
The content must be beneficial to humankind and be positive and bright, and beneficial to the physical and mental health of the audience. It must also exhibit the traditional cultural values of China.
表现中国的传统的文化价值。
The same criterion applies for the piano competition.
那作为钢琴比赛呢？ 也是，我们是展现的是传统的钢琴。
For the piano competition, it also must be traditional piano music, from the Baroque period to the beginning of the Romantic period. For example, Bach and Beethoven.
比如说像巴赫、贝多芬。
The sketch submissions deadline for the Han Culture Design Competition has now closed, but head judge Amy Lee says they have many contestants this year.
今年这个入围的选手大概有70多位吧。
This year, we have over 70 contestants from over 10 countries and regions. We require contestants to submit 2 to 5 pieces, so the total number of pieces submitted is almost 200.
总起来的数量哈，就是图纸就是入围的，应该是接近200套。
And the standard is high.
This year, from looking at the sketches, we can see there are many refined pieces and accomplished masters entering the competition.
The competitions will take place in fall 2013, starting with Han Culture and martial arts in September, followed by the piano competition in October and figure painting in December. While submissions for the Han Culture Design Competition are now closed, contestants can still sign up for the martial arts, piano and figure painting competitions. Now, NTD's Los Angeles team managed to catch up with renowned Taiwanese movie director Ang Lee at the Oscars last weekend. Lee won the Best Director Oscar for his epic special effects masterpiece, Life of Pi. Past movies from Ang Lee include Sense and Sensibility,
will bring you all the surprises.
And the Chinese martial arts epic Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, which won the Best Foreign Language Film at the Oscars in 2001. Lee says he didn't expect to get an award in the US with Life of Pi.
Actually, this movie sold better outside of the US. So I have a very natural and happy feeling in my heart. When I come to the Oscars, I feel whether I get an award or not, it's okay. So I'm a little surprised to get this award, but not totally surprised.
Lee describes his experience as a director over the years.
I have been to many places and made many different kinds of movies. This was a process of maturing. For every movie, I tried as hard as I could. I really treasure my predestined relationship with everyone I have worked with, everywhere I've been, and my work experience with everyone. So for me, they have been very abundant life experience. After a movie is finished, it belongs to the audience. Just like they say in movies, the story is yours. I really treasure this work experience and process of maturing.
Lee has a special greeting for NTD viewers.
Friends of NTD Television, I'm M. Lee. Thank you for your interest in this movie.
Well, thank you for watching Discovering China. We'll be taking a close look at Han culture next week, the dress of the Chinese people throughout the Tang, Song and Ming dynasties. Until then, don't forget you can subscribe on YouTube for all our latest and past episodes and check out NTD's China news on our website ntd.tv. We'll see you soon.